Namaste, my name is Sanat Kumar. Welcome back to the Manana Podcast. Manana is a Sanskrit word that means reflection or contemplation. In this podcast, I'll be sharing my deep, insightful reflections for you to contemplate and hence live a life of fulfillment. I hope you find great value in today's episode.
When was the last time you read a few pages from a non-fiction book? When was the last time you sat eyes closed with your mind as the only company? When was the last time you wrote how you feel or why and what you are stressed about or how grateful you are and what are the aspects of your life that you are grateful for? When was the last time you moved your body to positions that added to your health? The right answer ideally is today morning. What is the one thing that you do daily other than eat, sleep, cleanse, and work? Is that a self-building and self-empowering habit or self-destructive habit? We all know how we need to live life and what we need to do in order to do so. It's just that most of us have forgotten the big picture and we live out of compulsion, either due to the herd mentality, pressure due to the system's culture, or due to internal tendencies or compulsions. Let me illustrate through an example. Suresh works at a typical corporate 9 to 5 job, looking at numbers that mean nothing to him. It's not fulfilling to him, but he pushes through to work because he loves what he gets paid. He even thinks he loves his job because of that, or because he blindly believes there isn't any other way he could earn the same amount of money or even more doing a job that is more fulfilling. Anyway, 9 to 5 is 8 hours. That is 1/3 of a day, right? 1/3 of your day. And hence, if he stays as an employee for another 30 years, he'd be devoting 10 years of his life to building a company not of his own. Probably not of his country even. If one sleeps for 6 hours every night, that is 7.5 years of sleep in the span of 30 years. Eliminating eating and self-cleansing activities, that is 2 hours per day, we'll be left with 8 hours per day. That is around 10 years over the span of 30 years. Did you understand what I'm saying? Over the 30 years, left over with only 10 years. Okay. And then we have another huge chunk of time that's eating away our lives. That is mobile screen time. People on average spend 2 to 4 hours on their mobile phones. Unless, of course, if you're already tracking and being mindful about your mobile screen time, then it wouldn't be that much. Let's say Suresh uses his mobile for 2 hours a day. Then that amounts to 2.5 years of screen time over the span of 30 years. So that will leave us around 7 years left to live, calculated for the span of 30 years. So in 30 years, he'll be living only 7 years. You get the point I'm trying to convey through this illustration, right? Out of 30 years of existing, if one is down to only 7 years of deliberate conscious living, isn't this a tragedy? If you're still not convinced of the tragedy, read the blog or listen to the podcast, The Tragic Drama. People are ready to pour hours of time and other human resources into building another's company, but they are too busy to devote their time and energy to building themselves into their highest potential. But there is a way to not live this kind of simply existing and choose conscious and a life of fulfillment. It is definitely possible and attainable to all. 1. First of all, this clarity of the big picture is required. That is, you just calculate how much hours you are spending on what, track the time, and so you will get a big picture of what is going on here. 2. We saw how much time one may have left in proportion to other tasks. But then we need to think about energy management. Even though you have time, you may not have enough physical or mental energy to enjoy that time. For example, Suresh may come home at 6 pm. Oh, by the way, we did not calculate any commute time to his workplace. And I'm already wondering if he lives at all. Okay, considering he comes home at 6 pm, he may have another 4 to 6 hours left before he sleeps. But what kind of enthusiasm he'll have if he's already exhausted at the workplace? That's when he jumps into the loop of scrolling his iPhone. 3. And then there is the mortal nature of us humans that we need to consider. Who knows you will live up to 53 years? Assuming Suresh got his job when he was 23. What if you die? What if he dies while working at the age of 30 or 40? Then you will be leaving even less, right? Even though the ratio remains the same, you should consider the mortal nature of this person. 4. I am not suggesting everyone must switch to jobs that are not 9 to 5. It's not just about time. A person might work more than 8 hours, maybe even 12 hours. But if that work is bringing a sense of purpose and fulfillment, then it doesn't matter. The work you are doing is fulfilling you, then don't shift to any other job. But yes, switching job is also what one must consider. If the job is not fulfilling to you and you don't feel like you are serving enough, then maybe you should find that job that works for you. We saw what a huge part of our lives work takes. What if that huge chunk of time didn't feel like work at all? What if that was your deliberate way of living? What if your self growth and professional growth become the same thing? Then it would really tip the scale towards a conscious and fulfilling life, right? 5. If we have to tip the scale towards a conscious and fulfilling life other than the job or work choice, then we must give time to ourselves. Self-improvement is self-empowerment. We must make time for meditating, learning, anushtanas, writing, and other practices that help our growth. 6. We must try to become conscious of each activity. Of course, this is easier said than done. That is why we must focus on the previous point, that is, trying to make time for such conscious/mindful activities. 7. One must become mindful of other activities that are eating away from our lives and eliminate them entirely if possible, or avoid them as much as possible, or reduce the total time and energy spent on such activities. Now, coming back to the first point, if Suresh knew that he was dedicating years of his life towards building an MNC company, wouldn't he think of building a career on his own, a freelancer or a company of his own? And if he realized all the points mentioned, would his lifestyle still be the same? Would it be more money-centric or growth-centric? Wouldn't he be aligned to serve more? Wouldn't he be more fulfilled? We already know this, it's just we may have forgotten. It's time to realize. This may be hard for some of you because of the choices you've already made due to various reasons, but all those reasons, even though varied, have risen from a single node, that is ignorance. Realizing you are in the dark and moving towards light may not be easy, but it will be worth it. Start from scratch, think enough, and think again, and align and redesign your life to live to the fullest.
I hope you received excellent value in today's episode. To know more, head over to sanatkumarnahibi.com, and if you haven't already, check out my book, The Flower of Fulfillment. Thank you for listening, and I wish you have a great day.